Okay, so this is all about heel tanking the New York raid. If you look at my ability bar, I've got Blood Shield as my main builder. I've got Exquisite Corpse as my main consumer. Here I'm actually using Blood Pact. You can also use Hematic Rites. Hematic Rites will give you an ability which you can spam, slightly preferable. I've got Art of War, Mass Provoke and Provoke. I have Rocket Jump and Surging Blades as dashes. Now, as the heel tank, you're going to want to go in first so that you take the immediate brunt of the pull whilst the healers are getting into position. That's why I'm building up lots of resources on everyone that I can. The main purpose of the heel tank is to pull hate off of the tank at appropriate moments. That's why I've got Art of War and Mass Provoke. Using those forces the boss to attack me for 5 seconds. That means that regardless of how much hate the DPS tank is doing, I will definitely be his target for 5 seconds. As you can see here, I'm using 5 alive so that I can track the other tank's Whisper of Darkness stacks. And what I'm basically doing is I'm waiting for them to get insanely low, far lower than you would as another DPS tank. Then I use Art of War, and if you look, Lux is still attacking there, and it pulls it off him for enough time for stacks to reset. If you're feeling in the mood, you can throw a load of heals onto the other tank as well. If not, don't worry about it, the healers will be the ones to keep him up. Make sure that you use Art of War first, and then Mass Provoke. That's all due to cooldown timers, because Art of War has a shorter cooldown than Mass Provoke does. So here he's starting to get a bit low again, so Art of War's off cooldown and I've used it. He will do Shadow out of time at around 75%, and that's when you need to run away. You want only one of the tanks to have high stacks of Whisper of Darkness on the exchange, otherwise the healers will have difficulty keeping everyone up. Next up we have all of the ads who will just come to you, so just keep spamming your shields. You're generating lots of hate this way. Next we'll have the first bird to come in, so as soon as he's down I'll stop healing, and Lux uses Stone's Throw there, which has nice high hate and rips it straight off me. I then move away and pick up the second bird. That means that there's no danger of Lux getting damage hate on the bird instead of me. Drag it back to here and wait for the DPS to come and catch up. If the DPS tank comes and wants to do some damage as well, try to make sure that he stands on the tank side of the bird, which removes the risk of turning the bird and having him breathe all over the DPS. Another wave of ads coming straight to me. Hop over to the other side so that you stay mostly line of sighted in case of waves. And another bird again comes straight for me. As soon as the DPS tank starts hitting it, the heal tank needs to stop, because you want to make sure that the DPS tank has hate. Once you're sure he does, move on to your next position. We've got good DPS, so the birds are dying nice and quickly here. And we're about to get another wave of ads, and then the fourth bird. You'll notice that the other tank, Lux, will come to me, and then he just waits beside me, ready for the bird to turn up. Does a little bit of damage, because frankly he gets bored as well. So fourth bird turns up, Lux gets hate on it, and I move away. The heal tank wants to stand just in front of that police car to line of sight the wave. Sometimes you will get a patch of filth being thrown onto the car, so don't run straight behind it. Just give it a moment's pause. So we've actually got another DPS who's come up as well, crazy person. You want to be out in front so that the lurker sees me first, I get Whisper of Darkness, and then I want to make sure that I'm the first person into melee range with him. That was a little bit dodgy because Lux also got some stacks of Whisper of Darkness, so it didn't work perfectly, but everyone survived, and that's the important thing. And at this point we're just back to me continually healing, so any adds which spawn will automatically come for me. I'm taking Whisper of Darkness off of Lux using Art of War and Mass Provoke, because after all, if Whisper of Darkness hits 0, Lux is dead. Now, the added mechanic to be aware of is that Shadow Out of Time will knock you back if you don't have a stack of Whisper of Darkness on you. That means that, just like happened there, you may have to use one of your aggro grabbers a little bit early. If you have to do that, don't worry about it. Just grab it, make sure that you've got it on you so you don't get knocked back, and then just keep spamming your heals as standard. It then gets fairly dull for a bit because we're just spamming heals. You can sort of help prop up the healers. Make sure that you always have Whisper of Darkness for when Shadow Out of Time is about to happen. Feel free to chuck heals onto the other tank, especially after Shadow Out of Time has just happened. That's going to be when your healers are likely to have been knocked back and are least able to respond quickly to the high damage on the other tank. So the boss's health is now getting low, which means that fairly soon he's going to do Final Resort. You want to watch this very closely. Now, he's done a Shadow Out of Time, which is a dangerous point. If he gets below 5% and does Shadow Out of Time, you can't provoke it off him. Do Final Resort, get out, then get back in and try and do some damage. Now is a great time to be using Exquisite Corpse on as many people as you can. That is all that you really need to do. Did a little bit of damage there with the Art of War, but you're not going to manage much more than a couple of hundred DPS as a heal tank. The important thing is keeping the other tank alive rather than actually trying to do any serious damage yourself.